What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I've got another Palantir update for you for this one. This time they received another contract from a company out in Japan named Fujitsu. So it looks like Palantir is looking to expand into the Japanese market. We saw them get another contract with a Japanese company earlier this week, and it seems like the Japanese market is going to be very good for Palantir's business model. Now, before we get into all of that, if you guys enjoy this video, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out with getting all of this information out to as many people as possible, and it also lets you learn about all of your favorite stocks and stay up to date. If you want to see the options plays that I'm getting into for Palantir, I'm kind of scaling in and making sure I can build up a position. Make sure you stay to the end of the video because that's where I'm going to be going over it in detail. So if we go over and take a look at the exact contract, Palantir announced today that it was expanding its work with Fujitsu with a one-year, $8 million contract. So basically, it's going to become the distributor of Palantir's Foundry platform modules in the Japanese market. So Fujitsu has used Palantir Foundry since the last year to optimize its hardware supply chain, further improve its customer service efforts, and modernize its technological infrastructure. Now, this contract is a little bit different than the other ones that we've seen Palantir receive. It's more operational for this company and not in the medical field. We've seen Palantir be very successful in their medical field contracts with a lot of the government. So they had 2 or 3 United States government contracts that accounted for about $150 million and a $30-ish million contract with the UK. Now, although this contract is pretty small in terms of Palantir's normal contract size, it does serve as a benchmark for the contracts that they're going to be receiving in the Japanese market. They've already received 2 contracts from companies in Japan this year, 2021, and it's only January 6th. So I think we could see Palantir really get into this market and have a very large effect. We could see government contracts out in Japan very soon, and those contracts will be most likely between $30 and $100 million. So Palantir receives 2 contracts this week, and they also have a pretty massive event tomorrow. If we take a look over here, the CEO, Alex Karp, is going to be speaking tomorrow with the Washington Post, and he's going to be talking about the challenges faced by governments around the world and relying on technology and software to respond to the pandemic. Now, I think what he's going to do is he's just going to get on this talk and just pump Palantir and show how great this software is, how effective it was in helping out the governments handle this issue, and it's going to be during market hours at 10 a.m. tomorrow, January 7th. So if you have a position in Palantir, you're definitely going to want to watch this event. I'm going to be watching it. I will be able to provide you guys updates after it's over, but it's something to really be on the lookout for because this could really move the share price. Now, in a couple weeks, Palantir has their demo day. So essentially what that is going to be, so Palantir will have product demos that include the Foundry, Gotham, and Apollo platforms. Now, the Japanese contract that we just talked about was going to be the Foundry, and we're going to see that product live in action. This is probably one of the most important parts right here. Palantir will cover examples of its commercial and government work. We have the details about what the contracts that Palantir has gotten from the governments are for, but we have not really seen exactly what they're doing to help the governments handle the pandemic. Now, we've seen that they are for the operational rollout of the vaccine. We've seen that they're kind of to help detect hotspots and kind of contain them, and to monitor medical facilities and make sure that they don't get overrun and they have adequate equipment. But once we see the actual ways that Palantir is calculating this and using its algorithms, it's going to probably have a pretty large effect on the share price because people are really going to see how powerful Palantir's software is. Something that investors are kind of worried about right now is the share lockup period expiring. So if we go over here, the Business Wire says that the share lockup period is expected to continue until the start of the 3rd trading day following the date of public disclosure of Palantir's financial results for the year ending December 31st, 2020. So this is going to be after Palantir's next earnings, and this article says that it's going to be between February and March, but right now it is expected to happen on February 11th, which means that the share lockup period is going to expire on the 14th of February or the 15th. Now, I don't think that this share lockup period is really going to have any cause for concern, since the share lockup basically means that all of the insiders, the original investors, the C-suite, so the CEO, the CFO, the COO, all have a lot of shares, and after this date, they're going to be able to liquidate their positions. Now, I don't think they're actually going to liquidate a large portion of their position. Palantir has such a powerful software and keeps getting new contracts and bringing in revenue, and once everybody, the investors, the general public sees how powerful and how useful the technology that Palantir has is, I think the valuation is going to go a lot higher in 2021. Now, if we go over and take a look at the chart of Palantir, it really had a tough week. It went from $29 all the way down to $23.54, $23.55, bounced back up. I thought this was going to be a pretty strong reversal and then came back down today. So Palantir had a really solid day yesterday, and they received a new government contract, or a new contract from a company out in Japan today. Not a government contract, but one from a private company. And they really fell hard. Now, there was a lot of different things going on in the stock market today. We saw that the election certification hearings were happening, and there was a large protest, and the Capitol got overrun, and the market kind of took a hit. We didn't really see the S&P 500 react a lot, but the volatility indexes did spike up a little bit. So I think Palantir just kind of moved down with the market. We saw some industries get harder than others, and Palantir was one of those companies that got hit pretty hard. We can see that it is up 24 cents after hours, about 25% of the move down that it had today. And I think we could see this recover this loss tomorrow after the event when Alex Karp speaks. Now, I really want to get into some option plays for Palantir. I started scaling in yesterday, and I actually grabbed, if we go over here, we can see I'm looking at the February 19th expiration date. I got these $30 calls, so I'm down on them a little bit today. I'm not really worried because we have the talk tomorrow from Alex Karp, we have demo day, and then we have Palantir earnings on the 11th, and this expiration date covers all three of those events. I'm planning on selling my contracts after I create a full position, pretty much right before the earnings announcement. I want to be able to hold through all of the two events before earnings and then sell off and ride the implied volatility run up. We can see that the open interest on these contracts is 30,000, which means that 30,000 of these contracts are being held in people's brokerage accounts, and 3,000 of these contracts were traded today. Now, there's a lot of volume on a couple of these contracts. So the 25s have a 2,700 contract volume. The 30s have a 3,000, but the 35s, 6,100 of these contracts were traded today, and it has a 43,000 open interest. These are really far out of the money and are about $1.50 higher than the all-time high of Palantir. So if you really want to be risky, you can try to get into these plays right here, but I wouldn't put an amount in these contracts that you are not willing to lose, seeing that options are extremely risky anyway, and the implied volatility on this option chain is pretty high. Now, I'm going to hold these 30s for a while. Hopefully we can get a rally tomorrow. I really think that Palantir has a lot of bullish events in the near future, and I think that it's going to push the share price higher, and these contracts will go up a pretty substantial amount in value. That's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed what I had for you in this one, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and comment down below your thoughts if you think Palantir is going to have a run up through the Alex Karp speech, the demo day, and earnings coming up on February 11th.